Years ago, on the outskirts of an ancient and desolate town, lay a vast and ominous forest. Just beyond this forest, there existed a mysterious lake. The water of the lake appeared as dark as obsidian, and the townsfolk claim that a submerged city rested at the lake's bottom. No one had ever confirmed this legend because the lake's waters were deep, dark, and lethally cold. One of the town's residents was named Elias. Elias possessed a curious spirit and was determined to uncover the legendary city. Hidden beneath the lake's surface, one summer night, he gathered a few brave companions and set forth towards the lake's shore. Under the dim light of the moon, they reached the lake's edge. Elias and his companions took a deep breath before braving the icy waters. The coldness of the waters seemed to penetrate every fiber of their being. Mist rose from the lake, enveloping them, reducing visibility. Nevertheless, they pressed on. Elias and his companions began to explore the city, but eerie sounds filled the air with every step they took, mournful cries, distant laughter, and deep breaths echoed through the city as if it were alive, breathing. As they ventured deeper into the city, they started to glimpse the shadows of strange figures. These figures would suddenly appear and disappear, leaving no trace behind. Something seemed to be hiding within the shadow. As they approached the city's center, they were met with a shock. There was a plaza, and at its center stood a massive mirror. Anyone who gazed into this mirror would confront a dreadful truth. They had to confront their own fears. Fear and terror gripped those who looked into it. Elias stepped before the mirror and saw his own reflection, but it was not a true reflection. His face reflected all of his fears and regrets. His inner demons were now manifested before him, and they were returning to haunt him in a horrifying way. In a state of terror, Elias and his companions tried to flee the city. However, the city's layout suddenly changed, and they found themselves lost. Shadows pursued them, and the horrifying sounds grew closer with each step. Finally, in desperation, they made their way back to the lake's shore. Gasping for breath, they emerged from the water. But Elias was forever changed. The mirror had revealed his deepest fears and regrets, and he could never return to being a normal human. When they returned to the town, Elias and his companions remained silent about the horrific experience they had endured. However, Elias's eyes were forever filled with fear, and the cursed mirror still stood in the city, waiting for new victims. The secrets of the Shadow City remained unforgettable, and the lake's dark waters still mysteriously lured people in. Those who vanished into the enigmatic city never returned, and no one could fathom why. The lake's waters still looked as black as ever, and at night, the townsfolk still heard eerie sounds. Elias's eyes, however, bore a terrible secret for eternity. Years passed, and the lake's sinister reputation only grew. Travelers began to avoid the town altogether, and it slowly dwindled into obscurity. The town's remaining residents became reclusive, sharing stories of the city beneath the lake only in hushed tones. Elias, meanwhile, could not escape the curse of the mirror. His nightmares grew worse with each passing day, and his waking hours were filled with an overwhelming sense of dread. He became obsessed with the Shadow City, Convinced that the key to breaking the curse lay within its dark heart, one fateful night, Elias gathered a group of adventurers, each driven by their own personal demons, to return to the lake and confront the mirror once more. They believed that if they could find the mirror and destroy it, they might free Elias from its curse and end the Shadow City's dark influence. As they approached the lake, they could hear the eerie whispers of the city and the mournful cries of those who had been lost to its depths. Elias and his companions waded into the icy waters, determined to face their fears and conquer the mirror's curse. The journey to the city was even more treacherous this time, as if the Shadow City itself resisted their intrusion, but they pressed on, their determination unwavering. Finally, they reached the city's center and the plaza with the accursed mirror. Elias, his eyes filled with dread, once again stepped before the mirror. This time he was not alone. His companions stood with him, ready to confront their own inner demons. As they gazed into the mirror, their fears and regrets took on nightmarish forms. The mirror seemed to come to life, reflecting their deepest terrors back at them. But this time, they were prepared to face them head-on. One by one, Elias and his companions overcame their fears, vanquishing the monstrous reflections within the mirror with each victory. The mirror's power waned, and the city's grip on them loosened. Finally, with a collective effort, they shattered the mirror, its shards falling into the icy waters of the lake. The city around them began to crumble, its shadows dissipating into the night. Elias and his companions emerged from the lake victorious, their faces marked with relief and triumph. They had conquered their fears, broken the curse, and put an end to the Shadow City's reign of terror. As they returned to the town, they found it bathed in the warm light of a new dawn. The curse had been lifted, and the town's residents were free from the city's malevolent influence. Elias, his eyes no longer haunted, had finally found peace. The legend of the Shadow City became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the power of fear and the strength of those who confront it. And so the town, once shrouded in darkness, blossomed into a place of hope and renewal. Its people forever changed by their harrowing journey into the heart of fear itself.